We can have systems of equations and we can have systems of inequalities. So it's the same thing. You have two or more inequalities together in one problem. So we just have to remember what to do on graphs when we have these inequality signs. If you have the greater than sign, you have a dashed line and you shade above. If you have a less than sign, you have a dashed line and you shade below. If you have a greater than or equal to sign, when it has the equal sign underneath, it's a solid line shaded above. And if you have a less than or equal to, it is also a solid line and it is shaded below. So hopefully you remember that from before. If you have two different color highlighters to do your shading above and below with, now would be a good time to go grab them because the highlighters blend together really well to make a new color. On my notes, I won't be able to do that, so I'll show you what it looks like without highlighters. But if you have them, it'll look really cool. So let's graph the first inequality right here. I'm going to start up 4 on the y-axis, and my slope will be -2 over 1. So down 2, forward 1. Down 2, forward 1. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way across the graph, like that. Now we need to decide on the type of line. Since it has that equal sign, it'll be a solid line, and since it's a less than sign, it's going to be shaded below. So I'm going to go ahead and make a solid line, try to do yours straight, through my dots, and I'm going to shade in green everything below that line. So it's going to look like this. Everything shaded below. Alright, now I'll graph the other line. I'm going to start down 3 on the y. My slope is 1 over 1, so I'll go up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. This time we're not trying to see where the lines themselves actually cross. We're trying to see where the shaded regions overlap. So I need to figure out if I have a solid or dashed line. That's no equal sign underneath, so it'll be a dashed line. And it's a greater than sign, so I'm going to shade above. So I will connect these dots with a dashed line, and I'm going to shade in a different color above. If you don't have a different color, you can just make your lines tilt a different way. See how I have a different way of being diagonal? And so now we have our solution region. The solution region is where the green and blue lines are crisscrossing. So basically anything in this section is the solution. Where it's just blue, that's only the solution to one inequality. Where it's just green, that's only the solution to the other. And where there's no shading, that's not a solution either. But any points inside that region would be in the solution area. We can use that info to name 2 points. I'll name 1 point and you're going to need to name another. So I'm going to pick a point that is in the solution area. So how about right here? That's in the solution area. -2, 0. Now you pick one that also is in the solution area. Now I'll pick one that's not in the solution area. It doesn't matter if I pick one in the blue, the clear, or the green. As long as it's not in that overlapping part, I'm good. So how about, I don't know, right here. 4 over 1 down. So 4, -1. Now you pick another point that is not in the solution area. For these examples, we're going to graph all 4 of these inequalities on the same graph. So ideally, I'm going to have 4 different colors to do my shading. When you do your U-try, you're going to need 3 different colors to shade. So let's get started and graph these. We have y is less than or equal to 5. So I go to the y-axis, I go up to 5, and I make my line horizontal. This is a equal sign, so it is a solid line. Actually, every single one of these has an equal sign, so these will all be solid lines. And now I just have to see which way I need to shade. So I'll do this one in green, and I need to shade below because it's a less than sign. So I'm going to put green everywhere underneath that line. Next, I need to graph y is greater than or equal to 2. So I'm going to go to 2 on the y-axis and make a horizontal line. It's solid, and this time I have a greater than sign, so I need to shade above. So I will do that shading in blue, and it's going to be above. Everything above the line y equals 2. Alright, so far you can see the solution area is narrowed down to in between those two lines where it's blue and green. Let's keep going. I'll pick some new colors to keep shading with. And I'm going to graph the third one. I'll start up 1, so right here. I'm going to go up 3 over 1, 1, 2, 3, over 1, 1, 2, 3, over 1. I could go down 3 and back 1, and connect those with a solid line. And now I need to see if I shade above or below that. I'm going to shade in red for this one. This one is a less than sign, so I need to shade below that. So everything below that black line that I just drew, all of that is less than. So now you can see the solution area so far is where we have green, blue, and red, so over here. Alright, last one. We have -4 for the y-intercept, so way down here. Our slope is 3 over 1, so up 3 over 1, up 3. You notice anything about these lines? They're parallel. So we'll connect those with a solid line. And this is the last shading we have to do. I'm going to use yellow for this. So we need to shade this one above because it's greater. So the line I just drew, I'm going to shade everything above that. So like this. Everything above that line I just drew. Now, it's starting to look a little crowded. And if you don't have 4 different colors, then hopefully you can see where all of your shading parts have been overlapping. But what we're looking for is where we have all 4 colors. And the place that happens is right here. So I'm shading all of that. See how it made a shape? So to answer the rest of this question, we have to say what kind of a shape that is. And I put examples of shapes and names at the bottom of your paper in case you forget. And this figure is called a parallelogram. Alright, makes sense. We have 4 equations and 4 sides. The opposite sides are parallel. It's a parallelogram. On the U-try, you need to make one very important fix. Change the first equation so that it says x is less than or equal to 6. Alright, if you left it y, then it might not work out so well. So you have 3 equations, graph those, and see what kind of shape they make.